Sonic has been around for a very long time, and as the franchise got more games, it also got more popular, thus opening the door for several crossovers to take place. I think we've all been fascinated by the idea of crossovers. It's fucking cool, right? Like, I remember as a kid I would watch these flash animations with Mario and Sonic. Of course there was Super Mario Bros. Z, and then there was like Mario and Sonic Worlds Collide, I think it was called. I was also pretty fond of the Sonic and Mega Man crossover comics. Shit like that was just extremely cool to me. Seeing two of your favorite characters crossover is just a special experience. But as time went on and more Sonic crossovers came out, the weirder they got. Of course, with Sonic being a Sega IP, Sonic has naturally crossed over with Sega's other franchises. Persona, Monkey Ball, Yakuza, and even Christmas Nights into Dreams had a cool extra mode with Sonic as a playable character. There's also been a Sonic and Angry Birds crossover, which had some cool mobile game events. I think the best example of Sega crossovers happens in the Sega All-Stars games. Hell, we had Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, which was mainly a Sonic game, yes, but a lot of the appeal came from the crossovers with other Sega characters. This extended to All-Stars Transformed, and eventually CrossWorlds with the free update characters like Joker, Miku, Yakuza, Knights, and some others that have been leaked that I don't want to spoil here. But of course, those racing games have also had a handful of third-party guests, and this is where shit gets interesting. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing on the Xbox 360 included Banjo-Kazooie as a playable racer, with his look from Nuts and Bolts, which makes perfect sense since that game had a lot to do with vehicles. But shit went even crazier with All-Stars Transformed, Wreck-It Ralph, Team Fortress, and even Danica Patrick. But with CrossWorlds and its Season Pass, the third-party characters here really do make the most sense out of all of them if you ask me. Minecraft has crossed over with Sonic previously, which obviously we'll talk about later. As far as I know, Pac-Man and Sonic have never had a direct crossover until this point, but it's cool because Sonic is also going to appear in Pac-Man World 2 Repack with a Green Hill Zone level. Mega Man may seem like a weird choice, but again, I loved the Sonic and Mega Man crossover comics as a kid, so I was overjoyed to see this. And then you have SpongeBob, Ninja Turtles, and Avatar, which are all Nickelodeon properties, and by extension, Paramount properties. With the huge success of the Sonic movies, it's clear why these guys made it into the game. Sega and Paramount now have a lot of ties, and I think that's a good thing. I can't wait to play as fucking SpongeBob in a Sonic racing game, like that's just awesome. But if you ask me, I think the most iconic Sonic crossovers are ones involving Nintendo. I already made an entire video about Sonic's appearances in Nintendo games, so I won't get too in-depth here, but the big two are obviously Smash Bros. And Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Mario was also briefly considered to be in the Wii version of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, but he was removed to not conflict with the other Mario and Sonic crossovers. I think Sonic is still the most impactful character to ever be announced for Smash. He was one of the first third-party characters to ever get added to the roster. Yes, I know his moveset hasn't been the best over the years, and he just looks plain weird in Ultimate, like, seriously, why does he look like this? But I still adore his inclusion in Smash, and every time I pick that game up, Sonic is always my main. With Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, I think it started out pretty good, but as the entries went on, it kind of overstayed its welcome, especially with each entry becoming more and more corporate and uninspired. It's no mystery why they pulled the plug on this series. Sonic still has ties to the Olympics though. Not too long ago they announced this new collab with Sonic in the Olympics, and I'm pretty sure it's just merch, but it's still cool. And then we also had Sonic Lost World, which included DLCs inspired by The Legend of Zelda and Yoshi's Island. I think the Zelda level is probably the coolest one in the entire game. The first area is very open, and it's not something we're used to seeing from this game. You then travel into the cave and come across Link riding on a Loftwing. Top it off with different Zelda sound effects, the health system, and of course Sonic's badass outfit. And yeah, I think this is one of the coolest DLCs in Sonic history. The Yoshi DLC is pretty cool as well. The theming is great. They did a really good job at capturing the same aesthetic as Yoshi's story with the environment, the enemies, and all of that. I also think the trailer for this DLC is one of the greatest pieces of media to ever come out of that era of Sonic, and I mean that with 100% sincerity. It just sucks, of course, because officially, you can't play this DLC anymore unless if you already had it downloaded on your Wii U, which is why I'm very thankful for the modding community. So now, let's talk about some of the more recent crossovers, like Minecraft. In 2021, Minecraft Bedrock Edition received the Sonic Mashup Pack, which included a skin pack in a world that kind of plays like a Sonic game. To this day, I still think the skins look so damn goofy, but it's kind of charming in a way. The world is pretty cool too. There's a few zones you can run through, and again, it plays kind of like a Sonic game. It's just kind of a unique way of going about putting Sonic into Minecraft. However, I kinda wish they did something similar to the Mario Mashup Pack. Like, just have a vanilla vanilla Minecraft world with a bunch of Sonic builds. I would honestly prefer that to the world we got, but that doesn't mean I dislike it. We also eventually got a texture pack and a resource pack. I haven't messed around with any of this stuff because I really don't want to spend any money on it, but it's nice knowing that you can basically just play Minecraft with Sonic everything now. And even if you don't like the content of this crossover, you gotta at least admit that it was overall a good thing for the series. I don't think Minecraft would be in CrossWorlds without this pack existing. Minecraft is also the best-selling game of all time by a large margin. So it's good PR for the Sonic series, and if you ask me, the content is also pretty fun to mess around with. I honestly can't say the same about the Roblox crossover though. Sonic Speed Simulator, the official Sonic Roblox game. I've tried so many times to get into this game, and I just can't, bro. I like playing Roblox sometimes and dicking around with friends.
Zach Speeds! Oh my gosh! Mr. Beastbog!
But I have never been a fan of grindy simulator games like this. The gist of it is simple. You run around collecting stuff to level up your speed, and then you race against other people. There's a handful of zones you can get to, and of course, there's a ton of microtransactions involved as well. I just find this game to be very boring and mind-numbing, but if you like this game, that's completely cool. I am perfectly aware of just how big this game is, and I think it's awesome that an official Sonic game is on Roblox. I'm just very disappointed in the execution. But at least it's not as big of a disappointment as Fortnite. The last time I played Fortnite was during the Chapter 2 remix season last year because Juice WRLD was in the game, and it was pretty hype until the album dropped, and that was some of the worst shit I've ever heard in my life. Sonic. People have been requesting a Sonic collab with Fortnite for the longest time, and if you ask me, I think the big three of gaming like this are Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite. Sonic already collaborated with Roblox and Minecraft, so it would only make sense for Fortnite to be in that lineup as well. And it was pretty fucking dog shit. Oh yay, we got some shoes. And they're not even Sonic's or Shadow's shoes. They're just Pumas with cool Sonic decals. Like, wow, that's actually sad. Oh, and there's also some car parts in here, so that's cool, I guess. They were talking about adding songs like Live and Learn as jam tracks, but there was some funky licensing stuff going on that prevented that from happening. And that's a damn shame. Look, I was never expecting full-on Sonic skins to be added to the game because I just think it would be awkward getting the proportions right. There have been some pretty solid fan mock-ups out there though, so I guess if they really wanted to do it, they could, but I just never thought it was likely. With that being said, I still wish we got more than this. Like, this is pretty bare bones. It's highly disappointing. Rocket League also got some pretty similar stuff, but at least with Rocket League, it makes more sense there, right? Oh, and how could I forget about PUBG? At least Sonic himself is actually in this game. Okay, actually, I take it back. Please get him the fuck out of here. But at least we have Fall Guys. Yeah, Fall Guys. I don't think I've ever played this game. Fall Guys is also very popular, so it's perfectly understandable why there were Sonic costumes in this game. They look pretty funny too. I really like the Eggman one especially because you can't even really tell it's a Fall Guys character. It just looks like a very weird pill-shaped Eggman. It's great. Unfortunately, it looks like these skins will probably never return because Sonic Rumble is apparently coming out soon, which is a Fall Guys competitor but with Sonic, so I can't see them ever bringing these skins back because they would just want people playing Rumble instead. And then we recently got the DC crossover. This is one of the coolest ones to me. It's mainly a comic book run, which makes sense, but there's also merch and art as well. It was first revealed in this cool animated teaser with Shadow dressed up as Batman, automatically becoming one of the hardest things of all time. Then there was art dropped with Sonic as the Flash, Knuckles as Superman, Amy as Wonder Woman, Tails as Cyborg, and Silver as Green Lantern, all of which make plenty of sense. I haven't read any of the comics or bought any of the merch, but I think the pure concept of this crossover is genius. I just hope this opens the door for more superhero collabs, like a Sonic and Marvel crossover with Spider-Man. Bro, I would go f***ing nuts for that. Recent Sonic games have also included different types of crossovers within them. Sonic Frontiers had a Monster Hunter DLC collab. You got a couple of costumes and a cool cooking minigame that gave you points to use in Big's fishing shop. So you could use this DLC to grind without having to gather fishing tokens, but I definitely don't recommend that. In Japan, there was a cool crossover of sorts with VTuber Corone. There was this cool outfit and a couple of reskins and sound effects. It's definitely one of the more unique crossovers we've seen because instead of just crossing over with an IP, it's a collab with a VTuber. It just kind of blows that this stuff never came out in the West. Sonic Superstars had some wild crossovers. The Lego one is probably the most popular, which makes plenty of sense. I haven't played this game with the Lego characters, like, at all, but they look hilarious. Oh yeah, and there was that weird collab with IHOP where if you went there and got reward points, you could unlock this Diner Amy outfit. Yeah, it was really stupid, and they eventually just put it up on the digital stores for free. I wish they did the same for the comic book skins because those were locked behind Kroger reward points, at least they were here in the States. I have no idea what they were trying to cook with the Superstars crossovers, but they're definitely weird. And finally, I gotta talk about Sonic and LEGO Dimensions. Or just Sonic Dimensions, as it's normally dubbed by fans. LEGO Dimensions, if you didn't know, was one of those Toys to Life games. You would build a bunch of stuff using LEGO, and then it would show up in the game. It was a really cool idea, but it was definitely a product of its time. Later in the game's life, there was a Sonic pack release that included Sonic, a couple of vehicles, and a mini campaign. I used to have all of this stuff, but I have no idea where it went. I still have the game itself, I just don't know if I still have any of the LEGO. From what I remember, the campaign was just kind of okay, but it's still really cool that Sonic was in this game, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this was Sonic's first time ever collaborating with LEGO. But yeah, Sonic crossovers, there's a lot of them, and there are a lot more that I didn't even mention in this video. Again, I just think it's really neat how much Sonic has branched out over the years, and these crossovers are perfect demonstrations of that. I just hope it keeps up. Hopefully, we still get things like crossover characters and costumes appearing in future Sonic games. And I would still love to see Sonic appear in more games as well. Just not whatever the f this is supposed to be. But that's all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.